In this tutorial, you will learn about trigger animations. This tutorial is the first one in a 3-tutorial series on this topic. And in this tutorial, you will learn what trigger animations are, and we will also look at some useful tools that you can use when working with trigger animations or any other animations in PowerPoint 2013. There will be 2 more tutorials in which you will learn about creating trigger animations of 2 different types, and we'll brainstorm some ways to use trigger animations creatively in our teaching. First, let's remind ourselves about what is the most commonly used order of animations in PowerPoint. And this order is linear, meaning that something appears on the click in the pre-assigned order. For example, when I will be clicking on my mouse right now, there will be pictures appearing on the screen. 1, 2, 3. If we look at the animation pane, you will see that the order of animation is pre-assigned. First, the puppy picture appears, then the picture with the kittens, and then the picture with the kitten and puppy together. I can change this order of the animation, but they will still appear one after another when you click on either your mouse or anywhere on the screen. Now, trigger animation is a little bit different. Trigger animation makes animation appear not on any click, but rather on a specific click. For example, here I have 3 buttons. If I click on each one of them, they will have a specific animation connected to them. For example, if I click on the Show Me a Kitten button, it will show me the picture of a kitten. If I click on Show Me Both, it will show me the picture where both a kitten and a puppy are. And if I click on a puppy, a picture of a puppy appears. Now I can go in a completely different order. I can go both, then kitten, then puppy, or I can go puppy, both, kitten. So this is trigger animation that you control what a learner can click on the screen for something else to happen. There are 2 types of trigger animations. In one, you click on one object and that triggers some kind of animation in another object. For example, when I click on this red shape, a smiley face appears on the screen. Type 2 of the trigger animation is when you click on one object and that triggers some kind of animation with this same object. If I click on this red oval right now, it will change the color. We will look at type 1 and type 2 trigger animations in more detail in the next 2 tutorials. And before we proceed to that, we will just look at some things you should know before starting to work with trigger animations. There are 2 ways to assign the trigger. One is from the Animation tab, where you would use the trigger button to select something that would serve as a trigger. Or if you have the animation pane open, you can click on the animated object, right-click on it, and then select Effect Options, Timing, and then start the effect on click of, and you select the object that will serve as a trigger from the drop-down menu. A very useful tool to remember when you work with any type of animation or when you have a lot of objects on the screen is the selection pane. What it allows you to do is to see the names of the objects on the screen. You can also rename these objects, and you can hide and show objects to make your work area more comfortable. So this is how it will look like. You can see there are multiple objects, and I can click on the I button to hide or show some of them. I can show all or hide all of them, and I can also rename them if I want to. To find the selection pane, go to Home tab, select Show Select Pane, or simply click Alt F10 on your PC. Now let's take a look how it works. As you can see, I have a lot of different objects on the screen, and working with them can be kind of tricky if you want to assign different animations or probably place them one over another on the screen. So I will open the Select pane. I'm in my Home tab right now, and I go to the far right corner and I click Select and select Selection pane. So here is my selection pane. You can see if I click on a specific object in the selection pane, it also highlights it on my work area. And vice versa, if I click on a specific object on my work area, it will highlight it in the selection pane. You can see that I have 5 different rounded rectangle shapes here. And if I wanted to assign some of them as triggers, it would be difficult to do because I would not know which one I'm working with unless I remember specifically that this one was 8 and this one was 7. So, but I can rename them. For example, I have the blue one highlighted. I can just type blue here. I will hide the green one and change the name to green. If, for instance, I have some things overlapping one another and I want to work with a specific one of them, I can simply hide everything and then start opening specific ones that I want to change. For example, if I want to work with this one, I can change its design, let's say green color, or maybe I want to add text. It's easier to work with this element on the screen. An important thing to remember when you work with the selection pane is that when you're done working with it, make sure to click the Show All button so that all your objects are visible on the screen. Otherwise, if you have some of them hidden in the selection pane and you go to the slideshow, they will still stay hidden. Another useful function or a tool to know is how to change the slide progression. In PowerPoint, there are 2 default ways to proceed through the slides or through some kind of animations on the slides. One is to click anywhere on the screen with your mouse or by hitting the arrows on your keyboard. Now, when you have trigger animations on your slide, you do not want your learners to be able to click anywhere on the screen to proceed to the next slide because this way they will simply miss the cool animation that you have prepared for them. In this case, you will need to disable the on-click progression in your PowerPoint. To do that, you go to the Transitions tab and unclick on mouse click. So here, if I would like to disable the on-click progression in my PowerPoint, I will go to the Transitions tab, I will find Advanced Slide and unclick on mouse click. Now the slide progression will be only available by hitting the arrows on the keyboard, or if you add the button that proceeds to the next slide, or if you hover your mouse in the lower left corner, the automatic menu with arrows will appear. This is the end of the first tutorial in which we looked at what trigger animations are and looked at some useful tools and functions within PowerPoint to use when you work with trigger animations. Please watch tutorials 2 and 3 to learn about the trigger animations in more detail.